bit though, a little bit. Because I got it on one half. But go ahead.
When Edgar and I first started dating, Edgar talks in his sleep, and he like woke up, or he was talking in his sleep one night, and he just kept saying, "One team, one fight. One team, one fight." And I was like, "What the fuck is happening? Are we getting attacked?" It's really scary. Also, he said, like 2 nights later, sometime like within the same, I don't know, couple weeks or so, he wakes up in the middle of the night, is talking in his sleep, and he goes, the fixins. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, man.
Like he was dreaming about some chili with some fixins on it.
You know, all the motherfucking fixins, Kenny.
Yo, so Edgar, you wanna defend yourself, or you wanna just
I have nothing to say.
Oh, so that happened?
That actually happened.
It's a fact.
And like, because I woke up and she's like hysterically laughing, and I'm like,
well, the one team, one fight, I don't think I was laughing. I was like, what is happening? The fixins thing, I was dying.
So what do you guys find interesting in the world today? Like the most interesting thing you guys find, like whether it be pandemic related or non-pandemic related?
Most interesting.
Yeah, I can tell you mine if you want me to go first. In the world.
Like what's interesting to me, or like the most interesting thing is in the world?
Well, what's interesting, the most interesting thing in the world to you is the most interesting thing in the world to you, no?
Well, is it to me or what I think is, I get what you're saying.
I think it's pretty fascinating that there are actually like cables that run from the United States to like Europe.
Are they?
Like cords, cables.
Yeah, I think Kate's gonna challenge that. I might take your side if it's not.
I mean, I know nothing about it.
I mean, and to be honest, like someone could have been fucking with me. I thought it was absolutely crazy that like phone lines, like there are phone lines going from.
I mean, I guess it makes sense, but like how? So
I don't know. I have no idea, and that's fascinating to me. That's like one of the most fascinating things in my mind. I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I mean, you could easily look it up over there.
Nah, I can't. I can't fucking look it up over here. I'm trying to do fucking mad shit over here. Motherfucker trying to put all this pressure on me. He acting like phones can't look shit up too. So he's like, because I got a computer in front of me, I gotta look that shit up.
All right, what do you got, John?
I don't know. I think for me, the influence of social media, only because, you know, like the Britney Spears documentary came out on Hulu about her struggle, and the New York Times, and with Justin.
Watched it.
And I'm not going to spoil anything for you. And for like Justin Timberlake and how they kind of influenced her in a negative manner. Within 24 hours, the New York Times comes out with an apology. And then Justin Timberlake apologizes to Britney and Janet Jackson for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I find it very interesting that we're in this, and it's a catch-22 sometimes, but like I appreciate the accountability that social media is putting on people now. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to just be wrong, but I'm sorry that happened, because people are not going to stop until they hold you accountable.
Yo, John, that's crazy. You got a totally different look at it. Like I thought somebody would have. Like you, like yo, like that's wonderful. Like I feel like if it's your life and like those people living a life, it's not like they did anything that wasn't happening, or like he can say sorry, but it's like all right for him to say sorry because he feels like the pressure of like being canceled and everything like that.
Well, I think that's a lot. I think that's the part of it, because I don't know if he would do that without that. You know, that's where I'm saying the catch is. Like, where's the genuine? Would he do it without the influence? But
right.
I mean, I'm taking the social media as like, what's the word I'm using? Like a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Just like putting it out there and just having that. But is it genuine? Who knows? Is it the fear of cancel? Who knows?
Right.
But I take it as face value, like that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I kind of feel that there's different perspectives on right and wrong, right? And I think like specifically, especially in a relationship, when
right? You're always
no, not anything to do with our relationship. But like, if you were to break up and, you know, there's cheating going on or whatever it is, specifically with JT and Brittany, right? Like what you do after that, like making a song about her or whatever, or like portraying her in a music video. It's like, there's just a different perspective on it. And it's like, you know, he could feel like I'm totally justified. Great.
Wow. What a good keyword.
You know, he could feel totally justified in doing that because he's like, she hurt me and like, I feel this way about it. But at the same time, like she could feel completely different. And like, is an apology in order? Like, I don't think anyone owes anything to anybody who gets hurt like that. Right. Like, why? Like, why should he ever apologize to anything? Like,
was that what that was about?
I mean, it's
he cheated on her. Like,
no, she cheated on him. And then he made the Cry Me a River music, the song and the music video and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then so like it negatively impact her.
Also, there's a lot more to that.
There is a lot more to that. But what I'm saying is that like
I know a lot about this shit.
Justin Timberlake's my idol, but I guess like what I'm saying is that like you might, especially in the moment as like a 18-year-old kid, like you're not going to think like I have to apologize and what I did was wrong this year. You know, like, you know, he has kids now, he has a family, and like, like he sees this documentary and he gets all the pressure from social media and he's like, shit, like hand up, like totally. I understand what you guys are saying. That's all right. I'll take it. Like, my bad. You know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes it takes someone calling you out to actually like realize that you were wrong.
Yeah. And I agree with that.
I feel you, but Kate, you kind of quiet on that. What you feel about that whole thing? Especially about what Edgar said.
Why, Myles? You think I'm going to disagree with him?
Nah, I don't know. Like, at first I didn't like really see where he was going with it, but now I see where he's going with it, and I kind of agree because it's like, and it's kind of like what I said. It's like, yo, live and let live. Like, yo, your life is your life, but like 20 years later, like if you know you didn't do nothing like unjust, like why you apologizing out of fear? Like that's corny to me. That's just how I always feel. You know what I mean?
I mean it's like take away the social media part or the cancel, like pressure about getting canceled. It's like, it's what apologies always are. It's like half the time, like you don't, like it's about intention, right? And like, if you may not have intended to like do something, but like it still had these consequences. And like, you could still say like, oh shit, like what I did had negative consequences for someone else.
Right.
But I don't know. I think like it's interesting. Like the internet is like has made, you know, it's like access to information like it never was before. And then so much of it is like user generated content. Like just anybody can like have a voice.
Yeah. Right.
So like, I understand people who like who think like cancel culture is bullshit. But at the same time, like that's the world we're living in. That's what it evolved to be. And like for you to say like cancel culture is bullshit is like, you know, just being like, no, things shouldn't change. It should just always be the same. Like, no, it's evolved.
So I could ask a deeper question on that. When you feel like something like cancel culture, or you know, people who are like, oh, these young whippersnappers and all that other.
I don't know anyone who says whippersnappers.
Yo, no. Well, first off, I'm 37.
Yeah,
right.
So super racist term.
Whippersnapper, maybe.
Is it? I don't know what that derives.
I'm racist. So listen. So what I'll tell you is this. You know how whenever people don't want to evolve with the times, right? And like that was me. That was like, you know, and you never catch yourself like doing it on purpose. We're like, oh man, that's what the young guys are doing. That's what the young kids are doing, or whatever the case may be. Like now, like especially with social media, right? Like I try to like like go against it for so long. It's like now like I have to learn it, right? And it's like, okay, what do you guys have to say about people who look down on the youth, right? And like when I started to see myself become one of those people, I was like, yo, what the hell am I doing? Like, it's the same way people looked at hip hop. It's the same way people looked at anything new that was happening. Like, how could I be against it? And like, even like, and to bring context, little Uzi Vert, $25 million diamond in his face. You go.
I mean, that's stupid in every.
How, bro? How? See?
I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, whatever. Like, I don't think like anyone feels that's like that he did something that's really cool except for him, and that's I guess that's fine.
A lot of people that think he's really cool.
I think he's cool for doing that.
Anyways, like I guess like I don't really have any.
Yeah, that's
view
mad dismissive. So.
I don't really have any view on it. Like, to be honest, no. But I guess like my thought is that, you know, change is obviously inevitable. And, you know, as you talk about social media and like how it's affected the world and how like tech has really influenced everything, you kind of see the opposite effect of that in like what's going on with COVID, right? Because like the fact that restaurants are like shutting down, but also like offering, you know, their food still, and like offering, and like if you get on DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, like you can still have a job, you can still make money. And it's like, you know, 5 years ago we were going through this with Uber, the OG Uber, right? And it's like the taxi, you know, medallion was like the best thing you could ever have in New York City, and it's like it was worth thousands and thousands of dollars, and now it's worthless because anybody could go hit up Uber and say like, I don't have a car and I need a job, and Uber's like, all right, well, here's a car. You're paying us $300 a week for that car. And
they do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And so, like, I mean, personally, I'm like, it's really hard to be like unemployed in that way.
Don't say that.
I know. Yeah. That's a slippery slope there. But yeah. I think it's like really, it is an easy way to one, provide a service. And it's completely revolutionizing the way that we look at transportation in the United States or in the world.
So,
but I guess like the point, what I'm saying is that like it's the ability to adapt in every industry and every way of life. Because I mean, if you look at like TV and like what's happening with like big networks and what's happening with like streaming and everything, it's like there's always going to be change, and it's all that really matters is like how you adapt to accept that change.
And that's everything. But back to what what that's the, I don't think maybe I asked the question wrong, but it's like, do you feel like you're one of those people, and like you just proved that, like when you look at little Uzi Vert, you say like that's crazy, that's stupid, whatever. But like if you was his age or in his position, you might have been like, yo, like, oh man, that's so cool. But like I think like as you get older, you become more physically responsible. And like you said about like the job situation, we're living in the best time in the world, period. The reason you have homeless people, the reason you have people who like might not be like working or whatever, is because people veer away from responsibility now more than any. If you look at like a lot of military vets, like they just like to be like on the land. They don't like to, you know what I mean? There is a mental health aspect to it, but they like to be on the land. They like to just like not have to go to family's house and because like, you know, it's like a sense of loneliness. Is loneliness a word?
Loneliness?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
No, right? But like, they're just like, all right, if I'm here, no one's going to bother me. No one's going to mess with me. And like, I'll check in on on my terms. I'll check in on my family. I agree with you. Like, dude, like everybody should have a job technically, right? But like, why wouldn't they want to?
You're saying, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, good. This is free. This is an open forum.
I'm just saying, what Lil Uzi Vert, what fucking jobs? I'm just not tracking all the
points. Yeah, I guess I kind of like went off on a tangent.
No, which is fine. I understand what you're saying. Actually, I could sum this up. Like, basically,
bring us home, Kate.
Myles is talking about like from a culture standpoint. Culturally, like shit changes, and like people always like who have like lived through a certain era look down upon like the new culture trends.
Right.
But what you're saying is like you actually kind of like subscribe to that. But in terms of a tech and like corporation and like a job standpoint, you are pro. Like you're like, you gotta adapt, you gotta change, like you gotta find the new ways to do stuff.
I mean, look,
innovation is key. Then that's where I got that.
I guess like my thing is like that question and like the Uzi
new question
is like definitely not in my mind. It's not like a culture thing yet, and so like I don't know that
definitely a culture thing.
I don't know. I guess I mean like putting a diamond like one guy doing one thing is like,
but that's a culture. Like, like Lil Uzi Vert is definitely like
cultural icon. He's a cultural icon for that. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, as somebody with that influence, you always try to become a cultural icon. So, like, you always look for the next biggest thing to do and what makes you feel right. I'm a strong believer of we as humans don't know what makes us feel right. We know what's made us feel right, but like we don't know where our peak performance lies and what it is, and like you know what you do best from what you did and what you practice, but you don't know what you actually can do best.
I think what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Or
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But like I know that I am good at being a creative because like that's what I have done in my life to this point. Right?
So you're saying you don't know?
Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I could be the best golfer in the world. I just don't give it enough time. But I think that's what he's saying is like you kind of like I could be doing like a million other things.
Right. So you played club baseball in college, right? But before you played club baseball, you had aspirations for yourself to be a pitcher, right? You started doing creative work after that,
right?
And you just stuck to that. But like, and that's what you put your practice in. Who knows if baseball or being a creative was even part of what you could do best, right?
It might be my eighth best thing.
Right. And this is my theory. Like people like Kobe, people like Jordan, like basketball is they shit.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And like not only did they find it early, but they stuck to it and like it was the one thing. There's nothing in the world like that you can say to me that they'd be like, yo, I love creating more than I love baseball. Maybe, but I don't think so. Maybe because like that's how you're making your bread right now, but I don't think it's like that because I think like you love baseball and you was damn good at that shit. It just wasn't available at the school you went to go to.
Yeah, I mean, I think by that time I was at a point that I was ready to like give that up in my life. But whatever, I do get your point. I think, yeah, there could be something, and that's I think that there's many like late in life like millionaires, billionaires who started something after working, in finance for 40 years.
Right.
Like, I started this like other company because like this is what I was passionate about, and like this is like how like I made my legacy.
Does everybody remember the example I gave like with Edgar in baseball? And Edgar's he's like in the creative space right now. Do you remember like your first deal? Like I remember I wanted to be like an actor. Like when I was younger, like I think like I gave up on acting like when I was like 12.
It was like a small deviation, or not small deviation, but it was like part of my career to get where I am now. Like I wanted to be in the like movie industry for like a hot second. And I don't actually know it's hard to remember like what led me there. Like I know I wanted to be in some kind of like TV production type thing. And then I ended up getting this like internship at like an independent film production that was happening. That was like really cool. And I really liked that. I met this dude who was the like wardrobe. He was like the wardrobe guy on set. And like he and I kind of clicked, and like I would always kind of on my free time on set be like hanging out with him and like his team. And after that happened, like I was still like, I graduated like in 2009, there were like 0 jobs. So I was like, kind of just like trying to figure out my next move. And he hit me up and was like, he was this Missy Elliott stylist for years. And he was like, hey, I'm going on tour with Missy Elliott and I want to bring you as my assistant. And we're going to Australia and
Edgar, you knew this story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he was like, we're going on tour to Australia and Singapore. And like, I want you to come be my assistant. And I was like, okay. And I went to his apartment and we did some, like, I helped him with like some organizing of like some past stuff that they had brought on tour. So I was like already working with this dude. And I was like in touch with her management company and we were like filling out the paperwork and stuff. And we were doing visas for Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And so we submitted the visa and it's just like they never denied it, but like it just was like they like wouldn't approve it. And so I didn't get to go. But anyway, so then I was like, that was kind of it for the movie thing. But like then I ended up going into more of like advertising and like more of a corporate route. But yeah, I mean, like it's definitely like one of those things where it's like I really enjoyed it. And I think I was pretty good at being on set and being part of that world. And I was just like, yeah, I don't think the production life is for me. And then it just was like a huge blow.
So before I let John give his, so that's a gear cue to think, John. I would say like, that's crazy because I never knew that about you. When you say that, it's like, man, like how different
what my life have been. I think about that all the time. I mean, listen, my life is amazing. It doesn't matter like the route to get there because ultimately, when I was even that age or younger, like I definitely was like, okay, by the time I'm 33, like I want to have a husband. I want to be living in the city. I want to have a kid. I want to be living this lifestyle that I'm living now. So like ultimately, like it worked out. But like, yeah, like, I don't know. Who would I be? Would I be something better? I don't know.
Nah, I wouldn't say, I don't think that you could be a better you of who you are now because Edgar wouldn't have married you if you wasn't like the best you. Right? So you were probably like where he met you and like to where he brought you up to who you are now. Like
skeptical hippo eyes right there. Like,
yeah.
What's why him saying that? What got you?
I mean, like, was I my best me when I met you?
No, I mean, you didn't.
No. You said like,
yeah,
the reason that we're together and like the reason that we have this amazing family now is because like we were both at our best.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it would have took you longer to find who your best self was if you would have been there. Because I think that after that, because I speak to you a lot about this type of stuff, it's like you really, like your self-awareness is there. But I think like when you are in company like that, your main focus is that person because like that's like the ultimate service. Like when you got like a superstar and like their ego and stuff like that. But I don't know where like, because I know like I spoke to you about like we speak about self-awareness a lot and like you tell me about like the things you did to get to where you are. I don't know like where that was, whether it was before or after, but like that self-actualization and stuff like that, like you would not get that working in that spotlight.
I was definitely still trying to.
Yeah, see? So then you're gonna have Edgar, you're gonna have Fisher.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it still worked out, but it, you know, it definitely would have been a lot of opportunity, but
thank God for OkCupid. On OkCupid right now. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like we talk about it all the time, how like there's so many times in our life that we probably wouldn't have like made it or like even like
if I would have met Edgar again. In college.
Yeah. All right, Sean, what's your
what were you gonna be before you were
John's so secretive.
No, I'm not secretive. No, oh God, no. I wanted to be on Broadway for forever.
Oh, for sure.
I was a performer. Like I still like in my room today, I like take like a microphone. I take a highlighter, put it to microphone. I do like live concerts. Like I'm crazy, but like I've always loved I think dancing, I can pick up dance moves, I think, very quickly, like choreography. And when I was in high school, my best friend, I was in drama club and all that stuff. And my friend was in a dance studio and she was like, you should be in the dance studio. So I was like, yeah. I was not allowed because my parents didn't allow me because dancing wasn't the
path.
A guy thing, we'll say.
Play some football.
And but drama club was perfectly fine.
Carpentry.
So dancing wasn't. So I'm like, okay. So I was like, oh, so that passed, and they literally refused to let me do it. My dad did. Yeah. My mom was always back.
And what was the reason? Like, what were they like? Just John, you can't do it because it's not a boys don't dance. Okay.
But I danced in the musicals. Yeah. In drama club, so that was very different. If someone told me like right now, like I'm gonna hook you up with an acting coach, a singing person, and a choreographer, will you take it? I think I might.
Yo, what? I'll make your dreams come true, son. I got you. Or like for your birthday or whatever, I'll do that for you, bro. Like that's like how hard is that, bro? Like yeah. Nah, for real.
I can't sing, and I never.
No, bro, but hold on. Now I'm about to challenge you. Like we have improv in here, and
I do want to do that once COVID's over.
Right, so we can do that. Like, I don't defer your dream based on like that high school thing, but I think I might have jumped on it too quick. Go ahead, onward.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean like Schenectady has the improv and the playback theater, and once COVID's over, I want to like join it and just do the improv stuff again and plays and scripts and doing all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Because I love doing that. I love acting. I love dancing. Like if someone said, can you teach these 10-year-olds a dance? I mean, I would do it. I would pick the song, pick the dancing, pick the choreography, and just make it so cool. I love doing that and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome though, because John always listening to those plays and shit like that, right? And I just think,
and musicals, I love musicals.
Edgar loves music.
Edgar loves musicals too. So
I was just talking about
Edgar and John, two peas in a pod.
I think musicals are just so cool. Like right now, I'm at Hello Dolly. It's Disney Plus. It's an older musical, but like I think it's just fascinating. Like
but you know all the songs.
Oh, well, you have to.
No. You don't have to. So you can just enjoy it for that. But like, you do, right? And I watch you every day. Like, and I'm like, yo, this dude really enjoys like listening to the musicals, understanding it, and like you change your voice for different things. And I'm like, yo, like that's your twist. And I'm like, yo, like so, like the reason I stopped acting is because like, yo, I had to say something and my brain doesn't go at the same time as the speech. Yeah. So like, I'll be like reading the script and they just be dead at me because I'm like, yo, like, it's the same shit. Like that's how I think. So it's not gonna be me acting, right? It's not gonna be me. So I just quit because it was like, yo, I went on like 150 auditions. I had an agent and everything, and it was like, yo, it's not popping. I had like 2 parts in my whole life, right? But for you good at that job. You're good at it, right? And like you seen every play. Like you is like me with podcasting. I'm not good at this yet, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And so back to that, and because I always like to make it about me. When I asked you to do a podcast with me, I was like, this is how you gonna get your start. And you was like, oh, but I'm busy. And I was like, yo, what the fuck could you be busy doing? Nah, I was being petty right there. Go ahead.
No, I mean, like, I like love seeing plays and musicals and just
the whole play, saying no, start to finish.
Yeah, I mean the musicals. Yeah, I have my favorite musicals.
Rent
is one of my. I like musicals that like Rent was very important to me because when I first saw Rent, it was like months after I came out as gay.
Yeah,
and so that movie was really focused on LGBTQ plus and the AIDS epidemic and I really resonated with that movie. And I think we watch movies during certain times, and I'll just transition to maybe a new topic in our lives that like we resonate so much to become almost like a tattoo or like part of our resume of life that just becomes us. Like, you know, like a movie you saw that in a time of your life that you're like, this is it. And like that movie has become now a staple of your life.
Well, I wouldn't say it just personally, like I'm agreeing with you on this, like one part of like musicals in general, right? Like I remember it was like late in college and, you know, when you hit college, it's like, there's so many different things in your life that have happened. And like, you know, you've lived this life with your parents for 18 years and it's like, and then you become like your own person. And then you kind of like start to become who you actually are. And it's just, it's interesting because one of my friends, his parents were like coming to town in Eugene, Oregon, and they were coming to watch Mamma Mia that was like traveling around.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, do you want to come? Like they said they'd buy you a ticket. I was like, all right, I've never been to a musical. Let's go. And so that was the first musical I've ever seen. And like, I don't know, it was just very eye-opening. And like, I think similarly, I'm very fascinated with like the fact that like you're acting, you're singing, you're dancing, and it's just like all of these like different talents, like in one, and it's like, and it's live, and it's just like it's incredible. And I, you know, we've gone to some musicals, and it's funny when you were talking about like how he sings. I like something that like resonated with me because
you sing.
Well, because I like love karaoke.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite things.
John does too.
And like I'll hit like the duets with like the high pitched voice and like the lower pitched voice. I do. It's like it's hilarious because I'm like I love that. And I don't know. I don't think I'm like talented enough, obviously, to like sing or anything like that.
Yo, so Edgar, you ever did improv?
Confident. No, but I've actually have been wanting to do it, and you know I want to do like a UCB down in New York, and I don't know. Like I think I would definitely do that at some point. I just haven't yet, and yeah.
So I did improv at the last like Italian day. Were you there?
I don't know.
And I loved it, man. It was like they go, okay, only use words with the letter C.
Yeah.
And like just like the rest is like you can only use expressions. The other person had to come in something. You had to be like, come. I mean, you had to like do things, and it was weird, but it was like cool because like it was like an hour of that.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I was really into it. But I see what both you guys are saying, man, and that's definitely something interesting I didn't know about both of you. Like I didn't know like that was your passion, especially you, John, because I just thought that you did that because like that's what you do, but I didn't know like that was something that was your passion. Right. And I didn't know Edgar liked that at all. I didn't know but I know now.
Don't you remember when we were watching Rocket Man? And
that's what I was talking to him about.
Yeah. You told me that.
But was it Noel and you were really into it, and Miles and I were like,
this shit is boring. Like,
Noel was obsessed.
Oh my god, and Edgar loved it too, and Miles and I were like, yo, can't watch this.
Yo, so Noel does that, right? Like her, Max, and John, like Max likes cartoons, of course, right? And he likes cartoons that sing, especially, right? So like you got like Rio, and like there's a certain amount. Like I like Cars with him because like Cars just like you just hear the car, but like the singing ones, like they'll sing the whole time, and like I tune out because I can't do it, right?
I think with cartoons it's different. Like I could get into that. But real life people, I'm just like, yo, it's just smack corny.
Right.
See, like La La Land, like one of my favorite
La La Land,
man, like,
I like
La La Land was bad.
Yeah, Rocket Man, it's just the
I couldn't do Rocket Man.
It's like I like when there are songs in a movie, like I don't mind. But when you're trying to like, it's like a full-on musical, like you're seeing a script.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, no, this is too cheesy for me. Unless I'm actually watching Broadway, then I like it.
I think it's like that mix between like film and Broadway, and I really like that. And I think it was done really well in Rocket Man, and it was done really well, obviously, in Bohemian Rhapsody. And like both of those movies, I just absolutely love.
So hold on. So with that said, what's your favorite musical then? Like, what's your favorite musical?
Oh, I know mine. Honestly, we had the most fun at Kinky Boots.
Yeah, I mean,
it was
that's
so fun.
Definitely up there.
And like, it's not like I've seen like way better like quality or like intellectual, like, you know, I've seen a bunch of Broadway shows, but that one was so fun. We had a good time.
Really
I have a top two. I mean, like, I was saying live or movie, because I think it's a little different.
Yeah.
I think like Wicked was, when I saw Wicked, I was into Wicked forever when I was in high school. And the musical, the soundtrack, when it came to Proctor's, I was crying at the end of Act 1, like bawling, because it was so beautiful. Wicked's one of my favorite.
We did Wicked at our high school.
Shut up. And then my second is, I think, Chicago.
I haven't seen it.
And I like Chicago and the movie with Reese, he's Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones. And I think I love Wicked for the story, and I love Chicago for like the Fosse, because it's very, they're just wearing like these black skippy things and just snapping, and their body was very like Fosse and jazz. It's like Fosse is a legit dance type, and I just love how that came to be, and that musical Chicago.
Yeah. I haven't seen Chicago.
Chicago's,
I haven't seen it either.
The movie's good. The movie's great.
It's hard to pinpoint a favorite.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, and it's funny because I've seen like so many different ones, like different times in my life, and for different reasons, and like, so like, just a few of my favorites would be like, obviously like Mamma Mia, like my first one ever, was just like pretty life changing, I guess, right? And then I saw Motown with my mom, which was really awesome, and like it's like a whole another thing, but like I don't do a lot of things like that with my mom, and so it was really nice to like take her to a show. And then like, even I think like that part of it of like taking somebody to a show, and like I took her to like a pretty bad one actually. We saw
Tupac
all, or was it like,
was really bad.
What was it called?
All Eyes on Me.
Was it?
I think
no.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it was. Yeah.
Is it that movie?
No, it was a Broadway musical. Yeah.
Oh god.
Okay, so like,
but it wasn't about Tupac. It was weird.
It was weird. We don't even have to talk about it. But like we my niece was here, and we took her to go see Matilda, which was like amazing. Was and like that one was crazy because like they were like, you know, like,
girl was 6 years old. Like,
in my mind, like it's crazy.
It's amazing.
It's crazy that like adults. Exactly. It's crazy adults remember this shit and like know where to go and how to be on key and everything. And it's like you have like 5, 6, 7-year-olds doing that shit, and you're just like,
well, what? Before it closed, I saw Mean Girls in the City twice. Before it closed. Oh, that was fun.
Nice.
I love the movie. That's a great guy. I think every gay male loves Mean Girls. And making it into a movie, into a musical. Like when Regina George like threw the papers on stage of the burn book, you felt like you wanted to be her in that moment. Like she was just like,
So you know what's crazy though? Like I'm surprised. Like to me, and like because I'm not into that stuff. Like I could. Oh, dude, I could dig musicals, but like the best thing I ever seen, it was a movie, and that's like that Rocket Picture Horror show. It's kind of like culty as far as, and I didn't say play, I said musicals. I felt like that was a musical.
I was like,
it is a musical. Rocky Horror Picture Show.
You seen it before?
No.
Oh,
it is a musical.
What? No.
You never seen it before?
No.
What?
Yo, you're wildin', son.
Don't tell Noelle that.
Yo.
I think I actually saw it.
Yo,
let's do the time.
Yo, definitely you gotta go do that joint. Cause so what it is like, it's like a cult following.
Right. I mean, I know it. Like there was a show.
No, so it's a movie, right? It's
in the 70s,
but it's a pretty bad movie. Makes it good because of the people, which is it sounds so weird. You could watch it over and over. Like Heather, that was here today, like Max's godmother, like that's her favorite drink ever. So the first time I saw it was we went to her birthday. Her husband bought like everyone tickets to go, like, and like when you go to it, everyone has like the props. So like they're like people like know the movie from like years. So they're like they'll be throwing rice and like throwing toilet paper, and that's allowed in the theater. It's the craziest experience, but it's like it's a shitty fucking genre.
have you guys ever heard of Tommy?
I'm sure John has.
Broadway show?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's back in the day though. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was about this like deaf, blind kid who played pinball. And it was like, I don't know, that I just remember like we went to go see it and I remember it was like really crazy. That might have been my first Broadway show.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, back to my longest list of favorites ever. It's probably just every one I've seen, but
Play Myself show.
Going back to Kinky Boots, like that was incredible. I remember like
I've never seen that.
I was
It's a very fun.
I was pretty drunk. And we were like sitting in the back row on like the bottom level. And so like I was sitting on my seat, like on the top of my seat, right? If it's
like it was folded up.
And so I was sitting on the top of my seat and like I was like so excited. I actually at like the end of Act 1, I believe. And I like was the only one like standing up like, yeah. And it was like crazy. I've never like, I don't know. It was just like such a good performance. And I think like what's crazy is that I actually have noticed from like musicals, but also like live performances and just like music in general, like really like gets like the goosebumps going, I guess. Like, and like for me, it like really means something to me where I'm like, holy shit, like they're singing their ass off right now. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, like I guess I just like really appreciate that. So like when she was on stage, you know, it was really good.
So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit because like you guys talk about musicals way too much. And I feel like they're okay now. Like we just like regular people. This is like a challenge question, right? Just introduce yourself to my audience, right? But with your industry in mind, right? But you're pitching part of your industry you would change, right? So like a part of your industry that you like or dislike, or a part of the industry that you'll change. Does everybody get what I'm kind of trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
And like, even if you don't, so you don't know, Kate, so you go last, okay? Because everybody else says yes. No, but all right. So like, I'm saying basically like, okay, so I'm in the military, right? And I'm saying, okay, hey guys, I'm Myles. I'm a master sergeant in the military, and I'm in charge of the career management part of the National Guard, because like that's the part that I feel like is like the least productive part of what we do in the Guard. So like career management is like, all right, I'm the career management NCOIC. I'm the career management liaison. Nice to meet you. You know what I mean? Like it's
so you wouldn't say like I want to change this, or
no. This is like, so you basically like are that conduit of change. So it's a hard.
Honestly, I love my job.
Well, let's talk about it. Oh, so all right. So you love your job and you won't change anything about it?
No, I mean there's nothing.
Are you saying like her job specifically, or like
no, just her industry?
Or our job specifically, or
yeah. So like for example, right? Like, hey, so all right. So can I say where you work?
Yeah.
All right. So you work for Anheuser-Busch, right? You'd be like, all right, I'm Kate Gallardo, and I'm the person who bought you weed infused beer. You know what I mean? Like, or like THC infused beer, light beer. You know what I mean? Or I'm Kate Gallardo, and I'm the person that changed this at this company.
You're saying introduce yourself as the person, like, let's call it in 5 years.
Yeah.
What you would be. So like.
Not what you would be, yeah. Something that you brought to your industry.
I'm Edgar Gallardo, and I'm an associate creative director at FanDuel. We, like Myles said, like I create all of our advertising for the company, all of our advertising and marketing. I lead a team of designers, and I'll just like kind of oversee all of the creative that comes out of the business. But what I did for FanDuel was create the biggest betting platform in the world.
Right.
Okay.
You guys get it? Yeah. No.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what Edgar's would be.
Whoa. Talk heavy, kid. God damn.
Stagger.
I feel like you should have said. And
so like,
all right, so go for it.
She never let my son get on.
Let's go.
That's not true.
No,
That's not true. I support you all the time.
No, I didn't say you need support, but you make him work hard for this shit.
I'm just saying, no, but I think you should have said, and I made FanDuel a brand and not just a platform.
Oh shit, Mike drop.
Mike drop.
Yeah, I agree.
Mike, I'm swing the mic.
Swang. Said Mike swang.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, and like she says that because that's what I talk about a lot, and I think in general, my view is that there's a lot of money to be had in the industry right now, right? It's a new industry. We are personally in 10 states. And we are like one of the leaders, right? It's like us and DraftKings. And so, we are like moving at this pace that is like far above like the rest of the industry, where there's like, even like Barstool, they're in only like a couple states. And so I think like, there's like a tendency to continue to like push on and like not really give a shit about what you're saying. It's just like as many people that can download the app, like it's going to be fine down the road. And yeah, like my view is that like if we create that brand, we were talking about this last night, like the thing that's really scary is like Barstool already has that brand and they have like the following and they have like the community that is really going to like push their brand to the top. And I'm like, we talk about this all the time at work, but we're worried about them because once they get their footing, like they're going to be a big challenger, right? And so yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that like when I leave FanDuel, definitely my stamp on it should be, or if I ever leave, who knows? But it should be that I helped make it a brand that everyone knows and like. It's definitely like one of those things where we talk about it now as like, let's become like an iconic sports brand. But I don't believe that there's really that like full buy-in for it. And I think us on the creative side, like we're really like trying to do that. So I appreciate that.
So go Kate.
Yeah.
Why you tell Edgar? So Edgar, and so with that said, Kate, if Edgar feels like your shit is not.
Why don't you do mine?
No. You say your shit first, and then you say what you was gonna say first, and then he'll tell you if you was going hard enough.
It's so. Can I just say it's so fucking crazy? Like working your whole job with your significant other, like right there. It's so weird. Mm-hmm. Like you just like. I mean, obviously before this, we like talked about what
China's in therapy mode. Pay attention.
But I like hear, like I'm in your meetings, it's just such a weird alternate universe. I genuinely like, I don't know what I'd say. That's not like already like, that's like a hole, a missing piece.
Well, I can help you with that. Right. So, unless Edgar wants to help you first. Because like I feel like, all right, every day you go to work, right? Like you see how you knew that for Edgar? Every day when you go to work, like you have that, I wish this was just there and it wouldn't be like this.
Oh, right? Okay. All right. I kind of figured it out. All right. Hold on, but I just don't know how to like articulate.
So why didn't you just let me finish though?
Okay.
No, I'm joking. So, like, every day you go to work, like, you know what gets on your nerves and you know what you do. Like, you in operations. So, like, like, if these people would just blank, it would just pimp, right?
Yeah, I know what I would like to change. It's hard to, like, put it in the formula that you're asking.
I think you got it. No, just put it in the formula you got it there.
Okay, so my name's Kate Gallardo. I work at Anheuser-Busch. I'm in creative operations. And I am like leading the charge on figuring out how an in-house agency can just not be like a kind of doesn't have to just churn out like tactical things that we can become more of like a creative force, kind of.
All right. So my name is Kate Gallardo, and I work for Draftline under the umbrella of Anheuser-Busch. And I helped get Draftline to the place it is today, which is an agency that has pulled all work in-house from,
I don't know.
I mean, maybe it isn't, but what I was going to say is that, pulled all work in-house, and we do creative campaigns from, Super Bowl ads to direct response ads to all digital and social and everything. And my team that I lead helps resource and manage every single project that runs through the company.
That's so cool. Because before John goes and before you rebut Kate, I wanted to act. And then even if I have to save this question for later, speaking to Edgar, right? I know that like you guys outsource a lot because it's just a lot, right? And like your team is, I wouldn't say it's small, but you have a lot going on. Same with what you just said about Kate. When does it become more better for the company or for the team to like not outsource? Because like you just said that like that was Kate's goal.
Yeah, it's not our goal. It's not our goal because the thing is like I think it's really difficult to depend on one creative team.
Right.
Like creative is a special like output. And I think one of the reasons that I'm good at what I do in creative operations, because I know that shit can't be quantified. Like it can't be a commodity. Like, like you have to have those, we have to have those bigger agencies or not. It doesn't matter the size. We have to have outside agencies, I think, be like coming up with ideas sometimes because it's otherwise like, it just kind of can become really stale. And
why though? I don't get it. I don't really understand.
So I completely agree with what both of you guys are saying, and I think there is a point where there's only like a max amount of work that can come in house, right? And I do think that there is always going to be outsourced work. And I guess like what I meant by that was like having creative control over everything from like an agency. Like it is weird because like there's actually like an agency like title to what Draftline is. But like personally at FanDuel, every spot that gets made, every piece of creative like comes through our team. And so therefore, like, I believe that like the goal, right, from the top down is like having this creative team that like makes sure that things are on brand and that we're messaging everything correctly and that we grow the company as we want to and meet all of our like company goals, right? And I guess like in coming from other companies like ESPN in particular, there was a lot that was done through creative vendors or, agencies or whatever that like kind of sidestep the in-house creative team. And I think that there's a lot of work that is done at Anheuser-Busch that like works directly with Budweiser, right? Like directly with Budweiser global team and marketing teams and stuff like that, right? And like doesn't ever hit Draftline in any capacity. And I guess like I don't think that Draftline should ever aspire to be like we're going to make everything in these walls and like that's it. But I do believe that they can staff up to like have the creatives on the team that like oversee everything that the entire company makes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It makes sense to you, but and I'm gonna let John go, but I don't understand. So I'm gonna tell you how I took what you said.
Yeah.
So basically, like when you say staff up, that means like, okay, staff up means more people on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And like if more people was on the team, like so basically like they outsource more than they should.
No, wait, can I just do
please
right,
no,
so
go ahead.
Edgar and my companies work differently. We're both in-house, which means like we both work directly for the brand.
Mm-hmm.
We're not an agency. Draftline shouldn't actually,
Right.
it's like
And
weird
that's what
that
I'm
it's
saying,
called an agency.
Right.
But like an agency is like an outside agency.
Right. I
Like
got
that's why it's called that, is because that word agency existed before agencies. Anyway, so what Edgar's saying is like Edgar and his team at FanDuel oversee all of the creative. So they work with outside creative agencies, but they still are part of that project. At Draftline, it's very different, but it's Anheuser-Busch has so many brands. So like where Edgar's working on one brand, or he has different products,
Right.
Yeah.
but they're all like, but he's working on all those. Like Anheuser-Busch has so many brands. And so basically we have marketing teams that work on each thing, and Draftline is like a separate entity. That's the in-house creative agency. But it's like marketing teams can go to outside agencies and we're not involved. And we are basically like task things the same as an outside agency.
Okay.
So like where Edgar's involved in everything that outside agencies are tasked with, if an outside agency is tasked with something, we're not overseeing it like Edgar would.
But I feel like that's what Edgar was saying, like 5 years from now, like if you were to say that, like
yeah, and that's why I'm saying like, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. What he's saying is it's not that all the work is being done in-house,
right.
but it's more of a model which FanDuel is doing, which is like it could still like Draftline is still overseeing the creative.
I didn't
going directly to a market.
And I didn't see it like that though. I didn't see it like it was like a more like what FanDuel is doing. I was thinking about it like from the innovation standpoint. So where you might like, I don't know how big your teams are because you're in like operations. Like Edgar knows this because the old Army buddy over here. Operations controls everything, right? So nobody moves without operations. So like you might have more people underneath your operation force than he does. So when he says everything is in-house, it's like the complexity of what he does and like what moves the pieces and what he does could be totally different than like, you know, buy the beer or buy the salsa or this was on the shelf. Cause like his shit is like more from in a digital space. Nothing taken away from how complex the job is, but because you guys been around for so long, like the method is there, and you're just tweaking it because like that shit sells no matter what. Because of Clydesdales, even if like you weren't there, with you being there, it sells more because you guys run a perfectly oiled ship. So I'm sorry, John, that we didn't say to you to talk about your shit.
So I'm just gonna I'll try to break it down really quick.
So let Kate break it down first, because it's her shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all like, honestly, we're beating a dead horse.
Okay, so fuck it then. So Edgar, break it down. It's a podcast.
No, but like
Draftline is a different entity. That's what I got.
No, I
John, it's basically like he works for an in-house creative department.
It's my fault.
That's like if they hire an outside agency, they're still part of the project. Draftline is not like that. We either are working on the project or we're not.
So yeah, and what I was gonna say is that they were like Draftline was created to like
work with
live alongside Anheuser-Busch.
Okay.
rather than be like this other entity that they would like pay to do.
But my thing, going back to the original question, why I even like said that is like the most difficult part, I think, is like you end up doing a lot of work that you probably shouldn't, and just to do the work that you really want to do. But it's not bad. It's just like, you know, you want to get to the point where you're just doing the work that you want to be doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, you're right. That opens up some other shit for me. But we'll talk about that after. But I want John to tell me his... Introduce yourself, John.
Okay. My name...
He's going to hit us with a whole different...
No, because he's... Yeah, exactly. Because
yeah.
And John is like... John, he's new in his... He's kind of like... You're not new in your space, but he went to like... I want to say pop your cherry to... I shouldn't say that, but I'll say anyway. Play myself show, right? So with John... Funny story with John is like... So we've known John for a long time, but like... You know, like when you finish college and you get that job and then you get that next job. And then like, I know both you guys where like, you like, yo, I'm about to go for this job that I want. And then like, you don't know. And like, John's like at job 3 right now, but like after fucking 7 years of college. So onward, John.
Yeah. So my name is Jonathan Wavers. Nice to meet everyone. I'm a mental health counselor, so a therapist in the world of outpatient. So basically what that is I see people once a week for 45 minutes, from children to teens to adults, from all walks of trauma, anxiety, depression, whatever you name it, family therapy, addictions. I can do. My specialty has always been children and teens. That's heavily where my framework and knowledge comes from. And, you know, I think the part 2 of the question is hard because I think with a lot of therapists and myself, we want to challenge the bureaucracy of it, of like OMH and like the lobbyist side of it being like, a lot of things are so paperwork heavy that sometimes we lose the sense of that person to person, but there's ever-changing regulations and it's to protect us. But sometimes things happen so much. That's part 2. But part 1, other part is, you know, like a lot of times with mental health for budgets, we're going to do a 5% cut and a 5% cut. And then it trickles down and the mental health piece gets hurt and lost. And I think it's always subsided. And I think what I want to contribute is to like, I mean, I still do it, but continue to advocate for mental health and the funding and destigmatize it and just bring awareness and that part of it. I think it's so important.
So John, you know Mr. Rogers, right?
Carl Rogers or the guy in the neighborhood?
The guy in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I know him very well. Yeah.
So
who is Carl Rogers?
Carl Rogers created person-centered therapy.
Right. Yeah,
it was all the empathy and
that's a good, because I did know that. But what I want to tell you is this. So there's an HBO doc about Mr. Rogers, and did you see what he did? He went to Congress and like he saw that dude, and he was like, yo, like all the kids needed this. Like that's what I was looking for in the answer, because like
I think that
like. That was so dope because he was like, look, I need 5,000. He was like 50,000. Like, I need $50,000. I'm going to change every American kid's dream, life with this.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to like write a book one day of just framework of children and teens and working with them.
Okay. So this is Play Myself show. And since you didn't do that, I'm playing. Like, since you didn't do like the question like
to be honest, that question
is loaded. It was loaded. Yeah, it's a bad question.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
It is hard, but
we should have hard in like, oh, I got to think about it more. Hard in like the ask was like, I guess not very clear.
Yeah, I'm impossible.
And that's some
right
live feedback.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But John, this is what I'm gonna challenge you on. Not challenge you, but yo, John told me the dopest thing I ever learned about like my son. And it was like in the development stage. So he knows, and this is so crazy because like, he knows what was it? The German scientist?
It was Erik Erikson, Psychosocial Stages.
Right. So, this is crazy. So tell him what you told me.
So Erik Erikson that's how a lot of kids and teens, they go through stages. Like each stage is like a versus. So 0 to 2 is trust versus mistrust. You hit trust, the next stage is good. Mistrust, then you kind of have to go back and redo it. So that's why the most important stage of any child is that 0 to 2 trust versus mistrust. Because if you see all the traumatic kids with the abandonment, that crucial stage, if they don't have that, the rest of their stages are just so
constantly playing catch up.
And, having that first stage, if you don't have trust and you don't build that, then you're going to have a hard time, growing up in this world. And because then the next stage is going to be hard for you, the next stage. And then, and then it goes through stages. Like the most important stages, one of them is 13 and 19. It's identity versus role confusion. That's teenager, finding yourself, right? And then the stage immediate following that is intimacy versus isolation. That's the 20s. So you have role confusion. You don't know kind of what you're looking for, who you are. That next stage, intimacy versus isolation, you kind of maybe, it's not like cause and effect, but it's correlated that you'll go in the isolation phase because you weren't finding that self in that,
Hold on,
in that
John,
identity stage.
John, that shit was dope. But now that's something to ask you, bro. No, word. I want to know
every one of those.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, just tell us.
I remember this one day I was thinking about both of those joints.
Nah, but you might as well just tell us all the stages. You said you went from 0 to 2 to fucking 19 to 26.
Yes, I will.
All right.
Man, you can't let him paraphrase because he doesn't know.
Nah, he no, but he's looking at it now. But like when he told me at dinner, I was like,
okay. So the first stage is trust versus mistrust. If needs are dependently met, infants develop a sense of basic trust with their parents and caregivers.
That's why you respond.
The next stage,
but that's why like when you drop your son, like if you ever like. If like now, like I can get Max to like jump off the world for me, but if one time if I drop him, it's over.
So the next stage is autonomy versus shame or doubt.
Ooh.
Toddlers learn to exercise will and do things for themselves, or they doubt their abilities. So that like you kind of talk like, what can we do? Oh, like that, like trying and modeling and having them learn. And then the next stage is initiative versus guilt. It's a preschooler stage. So preschoolers learn to initiate tasks and carry out plans, or they feel guilty about their effort. So they're very contrasty. Then it's industry versus inferiority. So children learn the pleasure of applying themselves to tasks, or they feel inferior to it. Identity versus confusion. That's the teenagers finding their roles in their friend group. Then the young adults is what I'm in right now. Intimacy versus isolation. Young adults struggle to form close relationships to gain the capacity for intimate love, or they feel isolated. And then next thing is generativity versus stagnation. Middle age. So this is like the midlife crisis sometimes.
What? I feel like you looking at me like
no, no. But like, so the middle age discover a sense of contributing to the world through family or work, or they feel lack of purpose.
That's crazy.
And then the last stage is integrity versus despair. Is when they're older and they reflect on their life. Did I accomplish everything, or that's in despair? So you kind of want to. I always look children. When I work with families who adopted kids with trauma, and they're like one after the other and the other with their mental health issues, and I'm like, goes back to that trust, that 0 to 2. Don't have it, but it's like so crucial.
Right.
And that first stage of trust, and because without trust, you have nothing in this world. And, with Fisher, that age is like, he trusts you to take care of him, to meet his needs. You don't meet his needs. Like he cries and cries and cries. It's not like that could linger,
Right. But is that a strategy or a theory? Is that a strategy or theory? Meaning that, meaning that
that's a thing.
If you
we did that.
So say you have
like a 2 nights, he's fine.
So say you have like a 25-year-old male that comes to you, right? And like you see like the stage he's at. Do you like automatically bring him back to that stage, bring him back to that age, and then use your DSM-5 for that after that?
It depends.
So like there's a book. There's a book that they use. I said that they use like that because like, me, I read all of those books. Like, so Noelle met John is like, they met in like, in grad school. So like when she used to bring the psychology books home, I was like,
it's every mental health diagnosis.
Yeah. So like, so single thing that could be wrong with you, like
I can find
it. So he can find it. It's in the book.
So it's like, right. So, like with a 25-year-old, it depends where they are, where they're at, and where they want to talk.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, let's bring you back to your past trauma, because then you get nothing. That's very scary for people. But like, I think one of the main assessments you do in the beginning is like a psychosocial. So like their home life, their growing up, and how they get along with their family. And so I always hone into the family, because that's where a majority of life is, those early family bonds and experiences. And so I'm listening for keywords. I'm writing the keywords, like reading between the lines,
Ooh, like an SEO.
And so it's like, they mentioned something with their parents or their dad. I was like, so what was your like happiest memory growing up? And they'll tell me, and I'm like, what was maybe your saddest? And then they talk, and then they unravel and keep going. Very naturally, because people innately, I think, want to talk about, depending.
Right. And
innately want to talk about things.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then so, but like, and so like a lot of it is those unresolved childhood traumas that have been masked or coveted, because like when they're adults, everything's be fine. I'm an adult, I'll have a job, and those things won't matter. But then what happens is unconsciously they start to affect, until you notice it, your personal life, your home life, your social life.
Edgar and I did couples therapy when we were engaged.
I think that's amazing. I tell it to everyone.
It was insane. Like,
couple therapy is hard. I know that I could ever do it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I don't think it was that hard. Like, our relationship was in a good place, right? So like our starting point was like, we're in a good place. We're getting married. Like, we should probably like talk about shit before
you do it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it wasn't like we were never gonna not do it, but it was like, let's just like put stuff on the table and like see where this takes us. And we both did each a family session and sat in on each other. So like the therapist did a whole family session with Edgar, and I just was like sitting there listening. And then I think at the end, maybe he was like, so how did you feel about that or whatever? But like, I was, it was mostly him just talking to Edgar, and then the same thing for me. And we found out like that so many of our differences were like
so rooted.
This goes back, like the biggest thing that I can remember that like is also like not a big deal to like talk about is like, okay, like dinner, right? Like I grew up in a family where we eat dinner together every night.
Mine wasn't like that. Eat on the couch, for yourself.
Edgar's wasn't like that. But
mine wasn't like that either.
When we were living together and he wouldn't come home for dinner, I took it as like it was hurtful to me.
Yeah.
But then he explained like what his dinner situation was like. And so for him, it was like, that doesn't mean anything that I'm not here.
Well, that's a great example because, a few months ago, it was a Friday and I grew up Pizza Friday. Noelle grew up Pizza Friday. And to you, Myles, you were like, what? It was like confusing for you.
I'm eating pizza every motherfucking Friday, so I'm not doing
And I'm like, that was just the thing in my house. Like every Friday was no dinner, pizza and wings, and oh my god,
pizza and wings.
But like, so like,
there's
so like, oh shit. So like, Myles was like, what the hell? And Noelle was like, no, and you were like, it's Pizza Friday. Like what? It's like, it was such a rooted tradition.
Yeah.
You know, that like it means something. It could be silly, but it
Not
means
to the kid,
something.
And John will tell you, like, yo, I'm very hard on my points. Like, when it comes to shit, I'll be like, yo, if I don't understand some shit, like, yo, nobody move type of shit. Like,
it's true.
Yo,
it's true.
Because when I don't understand some shit, so I'm like, yo, what? Like, I feel like I'm being tricked, and then, but like, I trust my friends really a lot. Right? Everyone. And like, even with my wife, John, you, Kate, like, I would never let y'all do no sucker shit. Like, the outfit of some sucker shit. I'm like, yo, nah. And I'll tell John mad times, and he's like, oh, I use your shit. I'm like, yo, bro. Because like, when he was having dating issues, right? I was like, yo, you know what your problem is? And he was like, what's my problem? Because he think I knew, right?
I'm going inward of myself.
No, I got you. And I was like, yo, you don't have non-negotiables. And he was like, what do you mean non-negotiables? And then it took him.
That's how you sound to me too. Just
God.
Yeah.
No, bro. But it took him a year to realize what I was talking about. And then now he knows. So like,
it's true. I mean, that's just the beauty of human life. You know, you can lead a horse to water. Drink. They're going to drink when they're ready, you know, and that's just the beauty of life, you know. People evolve at their own pace and just...
But go talk about that pizza shit now, because that shit got me tight. Like,
I mean, like, I think, like, if we're talking about, like traditions of families, you know, with you guys, you know, like, growing up, I had traditions of my own that I want to bring to somebody. And they're just so deep-rooted that, like, it does trigger when we meet somebody and you're like, what the hell? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, I think like what I learned is like, it's not like, it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It's not having.
That was his worldview.
And it's not only like
that
what
was
the
your
actual
worldview.
Action is, right? It's not just like the actor sitting
ceremony.
there. It's not even.
It's the meaning behind it.
Right, and like I mean,
it's the intimacy, the sharing of the experience.
Like the, I guess like the place in my like hierarchy of everything in my life was just like feeding the need for food at dinner time. I was just like eating.
I know what you're saying.
To like fill my belly. Like I wasn't eating to like spend time with anybody. Yeah. I wasn't eating to like
never looked at it like that.
You know what I'm saying? And so for
I
her,
was too, actually. That's what's interesting. I was the same way growing up too. And
like dinner time was always something that I was like, all right, like I just had baseball practice. I just like got done with whatever. Yeah. And like, I am like eating and I'm about to go to bed type shit. And like, and I would always eat mad late. But like my family dynamic was like completely different than hers, obviously, because it was like my mom was eating dinner in her room. My dad wasn't home from work. Like
that was my
grandma made dinner at 4:00 and she had
I was like, fend for yourself. Like go pizza rolls. Like, oh, you dead.
And so for me, it was literally just the, like, you know, like getting nutrition.
Yeah.
And like for her, it was like a completely different thing. And like nutrition was probably like the lowest on that, or like, you know, like filling the need for food was probably the lowest thing on that list.
It was just like a conduit to spending time together. But at the same time, when I think about shit like that, I'm like, that is why you married me, because you want that.
Of course.
Like you wanted that. You want that like sense of routine that like, even though you rebel against, like you craved that growing up. And I think that you,
well,
that's interesting.
I mean, like I definitely like my favorite thing like growing up was like, it sounds shitty to say, but it was like going over to friends' houses for dinner with their families.
That's fun.
I had the same experience.
And that's how Flora was.
Exactly.
Like my best friend was like that. And she used to come to my house for dinner all the time. And it was like, obviously, you like start to see a pattern in the types of people you attract.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, you guys were like missing this thing. And
like your family is always offering that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
you mesh into that family.
And that is 100% true. And what Kate said, like, that's why you married me. I never thought of it from that routine standpoint. I always looked at like, yo, like when I said to myself, why is Edgar marrying Kate besides like who she is and like as a beautiful person? You elevate him, right? And I think like, so I have very like sometimes people might consider chauvinistic views on things, but I believe that like men seek what make them better. So like like men look for like the 10x. Edgar could give you something, or like you don't feel like it's good. Yeah, you're gonna ask so many questions. Like I'm always gonna become my best because like you're the level up.
Yeah, so I just think take the gender roles out of that. Like,
no. I think it's different. No, I don't think you're the same way. So this is my opinion, though. Can I have my opinion, though?
Yeah.
But I'm like, so when I say it's chauvinistic and gender roles, I just think that like it's more primal when it comes to that shit. You know what you want, right? You know what you want. Because it's like what we get in our moms, I think, like that comfort of somebody knowing that, like, because I feel like, and I tell Edgar this shit all the time, your woman knows the better than even you know it. And that's the best part about like when you find your wife, or I would say your mate. So it won't seem like you're in general, right? But like your mate, like you know what Edgar could do sometimes better than he knows it, and before he realizes it. Because I think like the vision is there. If that makes sense.
I think you're talking in absolute truths, and that it doesn't apply to everybody.
Okay. So, with that said,
I don't think that's how Edgar feels about me. And I think what you're saying actually applies to me more than it applies to Edgar.
All right, we're going to watch Malcolm and Marie after this shit. But go ahead, though.
I'm just saying, like, I think actually what you're saying, like I feel like I like Edgar definitely. Fuck, man, I've never told you.
Yeah. Talk heavy, yeah. Because I know what you want to say.
I do think
you.
like he's like I remember. I specifically remember when I got out of my long-term relationship before I met Edgar. I was like, I need someone who's going to make me a better person. Like I've been in these relationships where like I'm the one like making them better, and like okay, like that. You know, fulfills a certain part of me that makes me feel good. But I remember specifically saying to myself or thinking to myself, like, I need someone who's going to make me a better person. And I think I sought that and found that with Edgar. And I think he has.
So, Cabby, I hear what you're saying.
And I don't think, like, I'm not saying I haven't made Edgar a better person, but like, I don't think that is the dynamic for Edgar in our relationship.
No, but hold this down, though. I never said you made Edgar a better person. I said he's a fantastic dude. What I'm telling you is, like, he's authentic, right? So to sharpen your authenticity, you always speak your truth for clear advantage. You see what I'm saying? And then like certain shit, like he's never gonna say no shit in front of you. Honestly, or like, so if he felt like a part of his life was slipping, whatever, right? You question shit that like don't need to be questioned in public, right? So like, he different. He's just like, yo, you know what? I might as well just put it all out, and that's what made him better. Just like your presence.
Yeah, but okay. So, I mean, I guess I just think that. I just think the gender piece of it is.
Okay, the gender piece is out of it then. I'm just talking about my friends.
Okay, that's fine.
But you see
yes, I see what
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a little different, like.
Like Edgar did need someone who's going to call him.
No, I didn't even say he.
No, but that's a common theme. Like if. Like Edgar's friends.
Yeah. I mean, like we all know that.
That what?
That
we do. That your friends like me?
That I just do my own shit and I just constantly rolling. And she was the only one that ever was like, "What are you talking about?" Or sorry. Actually, what she said was, "What are you talking about?" And so and I never had that in my life. And yeah, I mean, like. I don't know. Like, I think when I found that, I was like, all right, well, this is exactly what I need in my life, because it made me
clearer.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
So it's not like
you were like, I have to think.
No, it's like
and that's why I have conversations with myself about what you're going to say. I'm already having this conversation.
I'm going to shoot some bells. So like, yo, he was a quarterback.
Just kidding.
Yo, Kate, he was a quarterback. You made him a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
But it's not like it is mutual, but like in the want and the need, and John, you could elaborate because you know from a psychological standpoint, the one, like it could be the same. Like you could level each other up on the same thing, but like it really all depends on how the person is receiving it. When I first met Noelle, right? And she was fucking like reviewing my papers. Like, how long did it take me to finish college? Like since I know John, right?
Yeah.
And then like when they was like, I felt like I was cheating. And then it was like, yo, everybody does that shit, right? And it's like, oh, you should change this word. I wouldn't say this. And then I felt like I was cheating. I was like, I should give you credit. But like, I never knew about that shit.
Right. Yeah. I think like the point there is that like having you in my life has definitely allowed me to like.
She wanted a kiss.
Allowed me to like, not only like you were the only person ever checking me, right? Like and saying like, what about this? And why do you think that? And that's crazy or whatever. But like, also like it allowed me to then like be like more prepared when I came to you with shit, right?
Yeah.
And so like, and so, you know, and I think even like at work, in my friend life, like every relationship that I've had, and like, there's not a lot of people like, I'm very confident and like, there's not a lot of people checking me. And like, I think it's important that you did that. And it's for me, it like helped me realize that like confidence like only goes so far, right?
2 questions that I want to ask you guys, and I know these are really hard, but the last question, like I'm only going to say one question, but the last question that I'm going to ask you guys, like you guys have to do it. But the goal question, because like I'm very goal oriented, and I definitely want to ask a goal question. 3 goals right now, right? Well, everyone has goals, right? Does everybody not have goals?
Yeah, I have some goals.
All right.
I got some goals.
Give me your 1, 5, and 10.
What?
Year goal.
Oh, year 1, year 5, year 10.
Yeah.
All right. We got to start so we can think about it.
I know mine.
All right, so go, John.
Okay. So year 1, I want to be licensed. I want to be a licensed counselor. Then I can kind of be stable with that. Year 5, I want to be living with my boyfriend / husband, maybe. Well, depending.
You got a boyfriend?
No.
Okay.
I want to be in 5 years.
This boyfriend that he has in 5 years, Myles.
All work.
And then year 10, have a family. No, that's nice.
That's right.
No, that's great.
All right, so now before somebody else goes, right? Thank 5 people by name. You don't have to say why you thanking them, but just thank them for who you are.
For who I am?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's not do that. Sorry. 5 people. That's not 5 people that like influence who you are in like in your industry. I would say
In my industry?
Yeah. Sorry. Like that. You know what I mean? Like that doctor that you.
Oh, so people.
Yeah.
Carl Rogers.
This is good.
Larissa, my best friend. It's hard. My industry.
Well, it doesn't have to be your industry, but who influenced you to be who you are, and
okay,
kind of like shaping who you're going to be to establish either those goals or what you are.
So,
okay.
I mean, like in college, I had a teacher, Dr. Karen Jones, who really shaped intervention in me and kind of all that stuff. And then in grad school, you know, I had this teacher, Allison, who was just an amazing woman. And
I know Allison. She's nice.
Yes. Her job got cut and for bullshit reasons. And her trauma view. And I don't know, like, I think I mean, it sounds cheesy, but not really like all the people I've interacted with in my jobs, like through St. Catherine's, the kids who I met with them, and Hillcrest, my residential boys, like each of them impacted me in a way that shaped me to go this way, that way, think of this. And I think that's the beauty of counseling. You know, people who you talk to shape you, and some last forever. And some are like, oh, like years down, like 20 years ago, remember this conversation? And it's like kind of like with mental health, because you see people at a very real and vulnerable level that you don't see many people at. And those deep sharing experiences, you know, mean something. And you kind of always remember your clients and kind of what they're going through it, no matter what pace of life you are.
I everything you said, I definitely dig. But Kate, it's your turn. Unless you're not ready.
I don't think I'm going to answer this question how you want me to answer it.
No, Kate, like it's not a fight. Hey, it's not a fight. Answer it how you want to answer it.
I didn't say it.
Play myself.
Words.
No. Play myself show. Play yourself.
Oh.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
So all right, I'm going to skip year 1 for a minute. With 5 years, my goal is to for our family to be complete. Right? 5 years.
Talk heavy.
We want to finish having our children. And then 10 years, I would say I would love, although I'm not going to say this is set in stone, but right now what I think my 10-year goal would be is I would love for Edgar and I to be able to have our own shit where he's a creative director and I'm doing ops and finance, and we're just rocking and outsourcing a bunch of work, and he, we're just kind of running our own business for the most part. And have a dope house, and
that's obvious.
Our kids are all happy and shit. But I think my other goal, which really isn't tied to an amount of years, but something this past year, or not even past year, I would say the past, I don't know when it started, but it's really the past 2 months, I think, having a baby, being pregnant, having a baby, creating a new life, and then also having someone so close to me that has lost their life. This is so weird how this is manifested into this goal, but I feel so differently about my body, my physical body, and what it means to have a physical body, and what it can do, and how grateful I should be. And so one of my goals is and honestly it is people fucking Lizzo and body positivity, what's her name, I can't believe I'm blanking because I see her on Instagram every day. The plus size model who did Sports Illustrated.
I know exactly. Ashley
Graham. I've literally seen her every
Ashley,
day.
I don't know her last name.
Anyway, so all these people who are very body positive, I think it's not just a trend and whatever. It's so I think
this is dope.
Understanding that physical body can be taken from you, right? So quickly. It also has kind of all these things have kind of melted together to be hey, when you feel bad about your physical body, this is a fucking made up thing. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking social construct that has been made up. What you're how you feel is just a thought. There's no science, there's no fact that you should feel bad about anything that your body can or can't do or what it is.
Social constructed.
Yeah. And the fact that someone that I love so much, their body was taken from them so quickly. And the fact that I was able to give birth. And not only give birth, grow a human for 9 months and then give birth.
Yes.
And then recover from it, which is like this whole fucking insane thing that like is just as insane as being pregnant that like people just don't like glorify as much. But anyway, all of those things have really made me feel like one of my goals is to like continue down the track of like body positivity and like feeling grateful that I have a body and feeling grateful about what it can do.
Yo, Kate, that shit was like one of the illest I ever heard. And like, you still didn't answer the second question, but what you did was like, that's going to be, I'm going to end every show like that. It's like that, because like, this is the Play Myself show. I always try to like think of different ways to like say like play myself, but like your like original thought and like how like you view that shit was nutty, because like you put that into like what you're thinking as far as like your goals, but like all you had to say was what you said as far as your goals, but like you came back to it like, yo, this is what the fuck it is though. Yeah. And this is why this is. But I'm still not gonna let you get away from the second part of the question, but and that's yo, like, and I'm reshaping this question because how John answered it, but like 5 people you have to think other than like anybody that's related to you to like where you are in Anheuser-Busch right now. Like 5 people who are not related to you. Who are they? And like you just want to say thank you. You don't have to say why thank you. Just like say their name.
Like you're talking about specifically like career based.
No, not even career based, but like character based. Who helped you build that unlimited character that you have to either help you build that confidence to go through that interview, or for you to have the strength to...
I have so many fucking people.
Right. Top 5. Everybody don't got a top 5?
What are you, MySpace?
No, I don't. I genuinely there's so many people. All right. First of all, like, I hate that I have to say this, but like Ryan Cohen, who was my fucking boss, gave me. I mean, he did. He listened to me.
Yo, you were doing all of this. I'm just saying, say his name.
He gave me confidence. All right, so Ryan Cohen. When I was at BBDO, I had gotten a job offer from another agency, and it was for like way more money. And I didn't want to leave. Like I loved what I was working on at the time. I didn't want to. And I wasn't even going to tell them that I got a job offer. And I was at a bridal shower and Chelsea Coleman and Molly Bedford were like, what? Like, you have to tell them that you got that job offer. And like, you have to fucking ask them to like match it. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is such a great opportunity. And they like taught me about this thing called like power stance, which is like everyone knows what a power stance is, but like they were like, no, before you have a conversation with your manager, you need to go in the bathroom and like put your hands on your hips or like whatever stance makes you feel powerful and just stand like that and then go have the conversation. And I fucking did it and I got like a 10K raise on the spot. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
you just gave John the game. Look, you should see John's mouth when you did that. You should
it dropped.
Yeah, it dropped. Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, that was like, and not only that, when I went to go do my final round interview at Anheuser-Busch, and I was literally like, I want to get pregnant. Like, I need to get this job so that I can have a family. I stood in the bathroom, did my power stance, went and like killed my interview and like got the job. And so like definitely those 2 women. But then also like, I like all of my home friends, like Laura, Shanae, Lauren, Michelle, Tashi, Nicole, Maria, all those girls like have been super supportive and just like made me who I am, which is like a no bullshit person who like that I think are important skills in my job.
Yo, but hold on. I said top 5.
I know. And then you told me I can answer how I want. So I'm answering how I want. And then Edgar, for sure, has like given me a great perspective and been really encouraging and made me feel like, I can achieve this. This is who we are.
But hold on. So Play Myself show, right? So if Edgar don't say you, right? And then we watch Malcolm and Marie, it's like, how does that make you feel? Because like,
well, I've never watched Malcolm.
No, I'm saying, and then because it's just like that, like so. And it's
if
just
Edgar doesn't say me, I know that, like, I know it was me, so it's fine if you.
Oh, talk at me, Kate. So like, I look at it like this, like, so.
I mean, it'd be whack if he did say me, to be honest.
Look, all I know
like,
is
don't say me,
number
please.
12 on the list.
Yeah. Oh, yo, see how that's enough.
If I say her on my top 5, I'm already winning. So
yo.
You know, I say her and Kate after my 5, like
no, you shouldn't say me because like I
whatever.
know.
Hey, listen.
So like we gonna save Edgar for last because that's gonna be good. So with me, right? I'm gonna tell you like this. My 1 year goal is 1 million downloads on this show. That's 1 year goal. I'm hitting that regardless. Everybody says right. So. And my 5-year goal is New York Times bestseller. Right? That might be a little hard, but I'm definitely gonna do that based on this, right? And then my 10-year goal, well, I should switch my 10 and my 5-year, but whatever. But my 10-year goal is, well, I would say like my 10-year goal is New York Times bestseller. My 5-year goal is to open up more of a welcoming, like, I'm not saying that the improv spot here is not good, but I'm gonna open like a comedy club / improv slot here, and with the podcast being a conduit. And I say this in every single one of my podcasts because I was listening to Artie Lang, and he was saying like, yo, from New York to Buffalo, like they always gotta stop at McDonald's in Schenectady because like it's like the midpoint. And he's like, yo, like they're doing coke and they got fucking prostitutes and they're just having a good time. But like if there was a spot they could work shit out in Schenectady, they would stop. And I'm like, yo, dope. But I'm also gonna be the mayor of Schenectady. I will give it like 12 years. Yeah, I'm doing that shit too. I'm gonna be the mayor here. And I don't care what anyone says. I'm gonna say like my greatest influencers are like, I'm gonna say Kanye West, right? That's like my number one.
I'm just going to go ahead and say you changed your question.
What's that?
Because you just said my greatest influencers. I don't know. I guess
like, people I would like to thank.
I mean, so yeah. So like,
right.
I want to hear you say thank you, Kanye.
So thank you, Kanye. Like, yo, Kanye for president, right? Like, that's what I voted for. So Kanye is...
It's another podcast. Go ahead.
No, that's my shit though. Like, that's like... I beg to say that my influencers and like my people that like I like to thank is motherfuckers I don't know, right? Like, and like to inspire me to be where I'm at today, right? Like I can say, okay, Dan Bruner is like my only dude that I would think that like is where I am today. And he's my buddy. He's like in the flesh, military wise. But like as far as like thought influencers, but like all my shit is like in these books. And that's why I say like, so like I would say like you know, like a Kanye, like fucking Aldous Huxley, Ayn Rand, fellas, and like people like that. And like it sounds crazy, but like that's where I'm at right now in my life. And I believe that like I'm going on a Kate rant right now, but when I feel like you reach different parts in this last night when we were talking about your boss, it made me think about this shit. It's like you go to different parts of your life where you don't feel the same, right? So you look for that external comfort, or you look for like a hero. But like, you ever heard the term "never meet your hero"? Like, I never want to meet Kanye. Like, I just need him to be like who the fuck he is over there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because
it like destroys the like illusion.
Yeah, because every
watch that Tiger Woods documentary. You'll know exactly how that feels.
Yeah, because and that's the shit. Like everybody you know that met their hero, like Arian Foster, who's another inspiration for my show, this podcast. He said when he met Emmitt Smith, he was like, yo, this dude is like, it's not my man. It's not the dude I fucking grew up watching. You know what I mean? So, and like, that's some shit. So Yeah, man, like that's the shit. Like all the greatest people like that I would like to thank for who I am today is nobody I fucking ever met. Real talk. Like everybody I've met is just like who they are, and I love them, but like I'm trying to elevate. You know what I mean? Like I look at like I wish I would have. The only person I never met that I wish I would have met and sat down with is Nipsey Hussle. The only person I want to meet that's alive that I never met is Dame Dash.
You're definitely always on your Dame Dash shit. All right, so wait. Let's run it back real quick. Who were your 5 that you said thank you to? Kanye?
Kanye. Donald Trump.
You didn't say that.
I'm saying it now.
All right, go ahead.
Aaron Rand, Aldous Huxley. Shit, Hotep Jesus.
So my 1-year goal is I want to be expecting our second child, and I want to be a creative director. I think that's fair to say.
Say it then.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's a solid 1-year goal, and I think in 1 year I want to make sure that I have started another one of my businesses. For those of you who don't know, check out TitletownLA.com. I have random shit that I've always kind of been doing, and I have like an idea that I've been like brewing on for a while, and something that I did, which was really dumb now that I think about it, but I paid the account to, I had like the paid account going over like the last like 13 months. And I did that in order to kind of like urge myself to like make it happen. And so I never did. And somehow, since I had that paid account going, since I had a website live, I had 2 orders yesterday on that site. And
so upstate New York, by the way.
Upstate New York. Shout out to my people. So like, I guess like what I'm saying is that Rucksack Life will be making an appearance in the next year. That's my goal. That's going to happen. In 5 years, I want to build my dream house with my family. Our dream house. I mean, like really, like
we're building Edgar's dream.
Yeah, let's be real. Like, okay, I know.
Yeah, I'm laughing because Kate look at you and it's like John sees it. It's like oh, just give it to me. You guys like having sex with your eyes.
I know, but the thing is,
that's what it feels like. Sorry.
The thing is like I know that like I think that it 100% is going to be our family's home, but like I think that Kate understands, and like I know that like I know like going into it.
So I care about like I have like a very small checklist, and he has a fucking long ass checklist, and I'm like,
and so like I think
as long as I get the few things I need, do you?
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get through that, and we're gonna build our dream home, somewhere in between, like I don't know, the Hudson Valley and New York City. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
And I would say the dream of working with my wife in some capacity would actually be like elevated to that 5-year plan. I think we've worked with enough outside vendors, and like one of my really good friends from home, we've been working with him on a professional level at FanDuel, and like it's been crazy, like the amount of work that we've like sent his way, and I'm just like, not that I could like do it any better, or I think that I have like the master plan, but like I just think that like maybe we can open up a fucking.
You can like see the vision.
Yeah, I could see the vision, and maybe it's like the New York office of that company, or like maybe it's our own thing, or who knows what it is.
Right.
I just know that like we can definitely be doing something on our own, and we were talking about this earlier yesterday or whatever, but like it's like. I feel like my career and like my personal interest and like ambitions have been like kind of splintering lately, and kind of like as I'm moving forward, it's like I know that I'm still gonna keep doing what I'm doing in my professional career, like, you know, day-to-day career, but also like continue to interject some more business opportunities. So yeah, 5 years, definitely want that. And then 10 years, I'm being lofty and saying like, I want to be traveling more and like doing different things that like pull us away from the grind. Right. And I want to make sure that like we at 10 years from now, I think that we're going to be making moves to like, I don't know, that time that we're like starting to push like Fisher into his, you know, like teen years, and then like into high school, and then like getting ready for, I'm just saying like, I think I'm just like getting ready for this time where I'm like, I want to like travel more. I don't see that happening like as much as we love to do. And so like, I want to get back to like where we were before our kids, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah. So like, that's like a big goal for me.
That's fly. He said kids.
Yeah.
He told my 10 years.
Yeah. Word.
Four
or five. All right. My five people. My five people. I'm going to go in like chronological order. Like, I think I've definitely told you, and you met him actually. My high school teacher was like, I didn't know it at the time, obviously, but like now, like where I'm at and what I'm doing with my life and my career.
That's what's a teacher.
I know, and it's like he, Mr. Brewster, he was like an incredible influence on my life. And like, honestly, like he just made me understand what it was to like actually like be creative in my mind. And like, he just like inspired creativity all the time. And so that was dope. He's the only person that I've ever known who has claimed to read the dictionary multiple times, which is like something that's like crazy, but also like cool. Kind of dope.
Yeah.
Emilio Gonzalez, when we were in high school, like he like inspired me in a lot of the things that we made for that class. It was like a broadcast journalism class where I was editing film and all that kind of stuff. And so one of my friends, he would legit write scripts when we were just like in high school, like, and he was always like trying to make movies, and like we were all acting, and it was like, you know, it was corny, but at the same time really awesome. And you know, like I was with him when we bought our first like green screen. It was crazy, but whatever. Like just like a really dope creative who we worked together for a while, and like now he's doing things in Las Vegas. That's like really dope. So thank you. I would say thank you to this group, the Gallardo Groomsmen 13. It's just like this group of guys that I had as my groomsmen that were like absolutely like crucial to my life in like so many ways, like, and all at different times of my life. And so it really just shaped who I was today, and like shaped my creativity and shaped all aspects of my life. So that's a big thank you to all of them. And then Chris McClure, the dopest boss in the world and best creative director that I've ever known. And then like the last one that I have is like a thank you in spite of. I got fired from a job in Las Vegas, and like that was like the most life-changing thing of my entire life. And so it was like a fucking like cowardly way to do it. Like it was like he had his assistant text message me to like fire me, and it was really whack. And and there was, it was like, it was whatever. It was a long story, and it wasn't really like clear as to why. But what it did for me was like make me realize that I have like a bigger purpose, and like what I'm doing here is not what I'm meant to be doing. And like, it made me get up and move to New York with nothing. And so that was dope. So thank you for doing that, because now I'm here where I'm at.
Yeah, that shit is mad flop, man. Yeah, that shit is mad flop, because like I didn't even expect it to go like that, and I kind of got like another segment to my show just off listening to that, and I'm gonna try it right now. How about that?
No.
I'm gonna try it right now. So, and we'll start with John. What I pulled from what Edgar said is basically a goddamn Academy Award speech, right? So I'm like, yo,
I want to thank the Academy.
No, but for real. So like, so in my later shows, I'm going to ask people to give their Academy Award speech, because whenever you give a name like McClure or some shit like that, like it seems like that's that, right? And no shade, but that's the shit. Play myself, right? But John. And then I'm you next, and then you next. So anybody who wants to be a mental health counselor, right? And that's like maybe 13, 14, maybe 15, maybe a freshman in college right now, right? Like, give them a piece of advice, right? Give them a piece of, but especially like somebody who you feel like, and everybody knows that nervous moment that they had when they're about to take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes it just takes for somebody that you feel like you can relate to give you that game, and you can just do it. And I think that, everybody here has that, because you didn't think you would be where you are now 10 years ago. You might have thought you might have been maybe a carpenter. That's how your dad was leading you to, or whatever, or your mom, whatever. But you are who you are.
Yeah.
And you did this shit by yourself. I watched you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I watched the video with you yesterday. You 22 years old, man. I was like, God damn.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I thought it was like you was looking healthy because you was eating my food. But go ahead though.
The experiences that you go through as a human being, from the good to the traumatic, are important. And, from the small to the big successes, a success is a success. Take it as it is and cherish that moment and sit in that moment and love every second of it. Like with this job, at first people didn't want me to go to it because of the pay. You're not going to live a life. You're going to struggle. And I didn't listen to them. And, don't let anyone dull your shine and your ability, because in my own personal opinion, of then being a parent, I think it's the second most important job ever. The first important job. But I think being a counselor, therapist, social worker, to have another human life in your hand, and you've seen that human life be crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed all over again. And you could be the first person ever in the whole entire life to say, wow, what you're going through and what you went through was so heavy. And I don't know what that's like for you and how you got through it, but somehow you're here today. That saying, that connection is just so beautiful to me, because not many people are empathetic in this world. If someone said to hey, Edgar, you wow, what you're going through is heavy. What's it like for you? Who says that to the person? It's just, I think it's a magical moment, and the ability to listen to people and reflect it back to them, that could be the first time they're truly being heard in such a safe space. And so if that's your calling and you want to do that, and do it afraid. I learned that in college, and one of our professors said it, do it afraid. And just, Yeah, it's just beautiful. I love counseling. I love therapy. Be careful because you don't want to do it for yourself. You don't want to fill a void because then it becomes messy. Like you have to do it for them. Do it for the person. You don't want to like do it for yourself to cover a need within yourself because then you're doing that person a disservice. You're doing the therapy for yourself, and you learn that through talking to people and all this stuff. And especially with kids, I've caught myself many times in beginning career kind of counseling almost myself of what I wanted to hear, that I wanted to hear myself, and almost like talk to my broken or like shattered 15-year-old self. I'm like, wait, I'm talking to myself. I need to go to my own therapy. This person's experience is totally different. And like, that's all part of the game, realizing, learning, growing. And I think with therapy, like it's not advice, it's not fixing. I hate the word fix because it's a very negative view. But like listening and just being present and just being empathetic and just being like, wow, like that's a lot. That's all a person needs sometimes. They don't want an answer. They just want to be heard and have their experience shared.
I say about that is like, man, like think about like do it afraid is like
do it afraid.
It's something that I don't think I really heard before. You know what I mean? Like as far as like a term. And I think that like you should have said that. No, but that's like that. Like no, that's what I would take from that. Like if I were to sum it up, like do it afraid is like definitely something that can carry everybody in every area.
Yeah, and I mean with me only being 27.
Yeah, you young.
It's young. That. I am young, and so it's like being a counselor at the beginning. We had like imposter syndrome, and it's kind of very like, am I qualified to do this? Am I qualified to handle this serious subject? Like, what if I F it up? What if I say the wrong thing? And I'm like, oh my God. And then I have those days. I still have them to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of like listening and sharing and kind of being like, I just put it on Facebook, I think a couple weeks ago, did I say the right thing? And I'm like, you know what? And how I talk myself out of that anxiety is I listened, and that's all that person needed in that moment is a listening ear with no bias, no judgment, just that safe space.
Right. And so, what's crazy about that is I hear that's like, it resonates so much with me because like one thing that I've learned as a creative, right, is like fail often. And it's like, it seems like the complete opposite of that because it's like, what you're saying is like effectively going to help somebody. And what I'm saying is like, be so confident that like they can't deny you. Right. And like, so like if you fail often, like you're going to like breed the best like option for somebody.
Yeah. And like, right. And I tell people all the time, and my favorite metaphor is like control. Like you can't control other people, and like it's storming, it's thundering, and like I tell people, I go, you want to stand outside the porch and be like, stop raining, and put all your energy into it, and the rain's gonna stop when it wants to stop. You can yell to the top, and like so. I tell people, I go, take your umbrella, but what's your umbrella made of? And John, it confuses people. And
this is, son, like, that's so fly that you're saying this. And like, I know I'm interrupting right now.
No, it's fine.
But like, that's like, this is the thing that gets me is like, like, you're very layered and deep, right?
Yeah.
And me and you battle on a psychological level.
Yeah,
all
we do
the time, right? And I win most of the time. But that doesn't say...
Says who?
No, says everyone. Because then I'm nice at it. But like, the thing is like this. He knows, like, from, like, I think I feel like I sharpen him, right? Because I look at him, like, when it comes to, like, identity, like, that's something that...
Do you think he sharpens you?
Yes, 100%. He don't even have to tell me.
Whoa, hold on. I'm asking
No,
John.
I mean, I think I am Myles of the identity. And, I think with identity, Myles knows himself inside out, outside in, any angle any angle, Myles knows himself. And I think with identity, you know, I think just speaking from personal opinion, you know, I think he like puts you in a very uncomfortable like situation. That room is like, it's all mirrors, mirror, and like to really look at yourself. And nobody wants to ever really look at themselves.
Yeah, for me, it's easy to say stuff. It's easy to like talk about other people. Like,
you know, like one of the hardest therapy tools is, you know, write a letter to yourself.
Right.
Do that and have an emotional, traumatic experience with itself. Cause it's like, letter to myself. And it takes time. And like, people don't want to sit in it because, you know, people don't, it's hard to look into yourself. And Dear Kate, can you imagine what you wrote to Dear Kate? Yeah. Oh my God, Dear John.
No, but what I'm about to shoot some bail. What I was going to say is like, it's so dope because like, yo, you're such a beautiful person, right? As far as like what I know about you, right? But like the shallowness comes in, it's like, all right, like what you see as like what you see, you should, right? Then I'm like, yo, this talk right here we just had, like, we've never spoke like this before in our life. And we talk all the time. Yeah. So I'm just like, yo, where the fuck, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Like, it's wild because like I know what I'm going to expect from everybody else, but again, like you're younger.
Yeah.
But
I think that's the thing about you, Myles. I think you always think you know before you know.
No, I'm telling. Oh my, yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know. Like I know. Like I've had deep conversations with you. I've had deep conversations with Edgar. I've had what I thought were deep conversations with John. Apparently not. Especially like when it comes to like dating and shit and relationships. I'm like, yo, this is why. Like I always tell you about that. And I'm like, yo, if you talk to how you talking today, you're married. Like that's the shit that people want to hear. Like you was authentic. No, I feel like, yo, this is the most authentic I ever heard you in my life. Right. And I suffer from imposter complex myself because I take in so much content. It's like, oh, what's this man?
Well, also too, you know, I think with me, like, you know, it could be like not like the pride thing, but like the platform. I feel like when you're interviewed, I don't know, like for me, I've always loved question, answer, interview, stage, performance. So like maybe that's where my energy lies. And I would want to say something about what Kate said and about like the body and her friend. And, you know, like the whole time I would think about it from now until then, just like one, thank you for sharing that experience. Number one, you know, I think it's so easy for people to like think positive and be grateful. And, you know, it's very superficial, you know?
Yeah.
And then for like Kate, you know, and what I do too, but like Kate just kind of like took it to that realness level, which is fascinating to me. But it was like, I want to use it in my therapy sessions. And then like, okay, but like, be like, you know, like being grateful. And this is what it, like kind of that frame and how she took something and just broke it down and then rebuilt it and made it her own. Like that. Amazing.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, that was that though.
No, it was amazing.
And like when you told me that shit the other day, like I was like, yo, like absolutely.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I've been thinking about it a lot.
And in no way like taking any steam or anything like that. Like definitely always felt like there are like we talked. I don't know. This is like a dumb thing to say, but like Gary Vee always says the shit about like 1 in a billion shot that like you're gonna be like become a human.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And like, and like that's just like a fucking like wild. I don't know. Like I just like don't want to like
part of it,
right? And it's like there's just like so many like factors that can like affect our son and affect everything that we're like how we walk on this earth. And it's just like
I mean, I think about like just having MS too, and I do think like I could have fucking not be able to walk. You know, like Wow. And I've had it for a long time, and I've been like really fortunate that it hasn't like I'm not, you know, I'm not disabled from it, but it's like that's all the shit. And it's I think like when you have a kid, it's a lot of bigger meaning of life shit, right? So it's like a culmination of all these things. But like, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, why am I worried about this stupid shit when, like, I have full ability, like, of my body. I have a body. It's, like, doing all these fucking amazing things. Like, why would I ever feel bad? And, like...
Nah, I don't know if that's safe, Kate. Like, to say, like, because I think that, like, yo, like... No, because, like, I'm hyper aware of shit like that. Like, I had, like, 2 friends commit suicide last year, and they had a body. And you know, they, you know, but they didn't have, like, I know, like, the way you were coming from as far as, like, you know, like, an illness standpoint, but, like, I feel like people use strengths in different ways. And, like, man, like, my friend Kevin killed himself. I'm like, bro, you had everything going for you. Like, you like one of the smartest people I know, you know? And it's like, why would you do that? But it's like, I can't answer for him.
Right, but I'm talking about myself.
Right.
No.
I think she's talking about herself, and I think that goes back to exactly what John was talking about earlier. And like, in that, I mean, that in my mind, I immediately, and I don't know if this is the case, but I immediately go to mental health and like how that is like stigmatized, and like I don't know if that was like a contributing factor or whatever, but like I think that like that's a isolated situation. And I think like,
well, and sorry,
just trigger my shit. Go ahead.
I also like my part of me being grateful for my body is also my mental stability. Like that to me is part of the whole like package of this whole operating system that is functioning, right? And like just the fact that it's all working together, like physically, mentally, like all that. That's part of it too.
And that's a like shit on what you're saying at all. Like,
nah, this is not the Play Myself show is not the shit on what nobody's saying. So like, I just talk about like I get confused about a lot of shit. So like when I'm confused about something, I'm like, yo, like how could you say that? Because like this is an experience that I had, and I respect everybody's opinion because like I said earlier, like with John. I look at John different now because I didn't know like he was that deep in his thought. When he told me about that, like that German, the German philosopher who understood like child development and shit like that, we all want to learn about that shit. And like, and it was like, you're like, that's the dude that he like not idolizes, but he's like,
my framework is all.
Yeah, his whole shit is about that. Yeah. And it's just like with you, maybe like you might have an artist that like, you know, you looked at and like your shit is all based on his shit, but you already got your shit already.
Right.
So that's what it's love, respect.
No, you know, I think what everyone's saying is kind of just, you know, from their worldview. And I think that's just the beauty of human life and human experiences. Like you bring something to the table, you bring a new experience, a new worldview, and you kind of, like for me, when someone brings like a worldview that doesn't maybe align with me or kind of, you know, I try to make sense of it in my own worldview and try to like empathize or something and work through and kind of and adapt and kind of be like, okay, I see where you're coming from and kind of communicate. And you know, I think that's the beauty of human beings. And like, I'm happy that we're allowed to do that and share those experiences.
Any alibis before I wrap this up?
Alibis?
Yeah, I'll take one.
What's an alibi?
An alibi is like the last minute word.
Well, wait, what?
He asked what an alibi was.
No, what you said?
You were in the military.
Lawyer world.
It's not. Hold on. It's not me being in the lawyer world. Alibi is the last minute word.
No,
that's not. No, any alibis means like.
Yo, y'all was on some Gallardo share attack shit.
No.
An alibi is someone who like
has like something to say for like the reason they did this.
Like Edgar was with me the night of the murder. So I'm his alibi.
That's like the legal version of it. But any alibis in what? Okay, wait, listen.
Is there a podcast version?
Okay, listen. No. Okay, there's so many versions of this. We're gonna talk about this real quick. No. So listen. So what she's saying is 100% right. An alibi, if you get charged for murder, and Kate says, well, no, he was with me at the movies. He wasn't there, right? But
alibi.
The Edgar shit, right?
Okay, listen. An alibi in the military, which is I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, Myles. To be completely honest.
Okay.
No, but like when you said any alibis, that meant like I have something to say because like I think I fucked up on something. And
number two.
In the alibi thing, or in the military, it's like, how many rounds did you shoot? Do you have any alibis? Like, do you have any like remaining?
No, but
do you have any remaining like ammunition? And like, or do you have any like discarded rounds or whatever it is? Right.
Sure.
All right.
Well, maybe that's what you meant, but in a metaphorical way.
So yeah.
So what did you mean before I give my alibi?
So when we like in the staff world of the military, you have rounds to shoot. Like, you know, like we do in a meeting.
Yeah.
It's just like, yo, any questions, concerns, or gripes? Any alibis? Oh, alibis, like, you have anything else to go.
Do you have anything else? Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like any alibis. And then I'll wrap us up. But like, yo,
I got one.
Wait, I thought he was wrapping us up.
No, I have an alibi.
Play myself, sure.
I have an alibi. And so what I took that as is like, do you have anything that like came in through this whole show or whatever? But like my shit about what I said about as I was saying the words out of my mouth about like everyone, like there's no reason anyone should be unemployed. Like I don't believe that nobody should be unemployed and like, okay, first of all, that's like a bad way to say it. I think everyone has the opportunity to this is like I mean now I'm like this is
a different podcast for every day for me.
No, this is what I'm saying is like this is I've been thinking about this and like when I said it I was like I was like word vomiting is what I felt I was doing. Hello, fucking Mean Girls.
I was listening to the same thing.
Yeah. And so like it's crazy because like I was in like a deep introspection at that moment and I was just like, I'm not saying that like I don't understand why people are unemployed or whatever, but what I'm saying is that there is opportunity out there for everybody.
Right.
And that's it.
To all my friends that joined me today, I'm very grateful to have you guys here, and I really had some really great insight. And this is the whole purpose of the Play Myself show. Like, I think that people don't understand the purpose of podcasting and like how it works. But like when you have like that community and you know it's on wax, you can't really play anything out of the context of yourself, right? So even if you have a thought, like my vision to the world is to show the world like it's okay to have thoughts. Like people are people have thoughts, people are irregular, people are imperfect, right? Like I don't think anyone is perfect. I don't think anyone is away, but like we're all in the process of figuring this thing called life out. And like to see that like there's people in other countries that understand what's going on and they listen to this and like they get inspired by like the people that I work hard to get on the show. I really think it means a lot because in 100 years, like this is the stand, you know, like because I feel personally as Myles that you can hear a person's voice and know that like that could be like a guide or a spirit, or not a spirit, but a guide to you and or an inspiration for you to do something, right? And that's what attaches me to a lot of people. To tell somebody what it is to be you, especially somebody who is not at that area yet. Like we were all you. Before I was me, I was you. But now I'm me, and you'll never be me, but you'll be hopefully a better version of me, or hopefully a better version of you. But that, like my purpose in life, I feel is to elevate the people in the world to be the best version of themselves. So hopefully like this show showed you what imperfect was with successful people, right? It's just like people who are successful who are imperfect, but we're doing it and we're being vulnerable and showing you that nothing is perfect.